Hello. So today we are going to create this rainbow ice cream cone. And we're going to use the 6 colors of the rainbow and brown to create a tall ice cream cone on our paper. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get a tall white piece of paper and you're going to write your name and the day you have art. You're going to flip it over and you're going to be given 2 patterns. One pattern for the ice cream cone and one pattern for the ice cream scoop. Now, in order to be able to fit 6 ice cream scoops on your paper, you have to put your cone at the very bottom of your paper. And then you want to trace around just the 2 sides of the ice cream cone. You won't trace around the top of the ice cream cone. And then you'll lay your ice cream cone touching the tops of those 2 lines. Your ice cream scoop. You'll lay your ice cream scoop touching the top of these 2 ice cream cone lines. And then if they overlap a little bit, you can erase the part that's inside the ice cream scoop. Then you're going to overlap the ice cream scoop again. And you want to overlap about halfway from top to bottom. If you overlap a little bit, you'll run out of room for all your ice cream scoops. If you run out of room for your ice cream scoops, that's okay. You just won't have all 6 colors of the rainbow, and that's perfectly okay. So about halfway, I'm going to overlap the ice cream scoop, trace around it, keeping my pencil up and down, running along the edge of the ice cream scoop, so when I remove it, this shape looks like this shape. So I have 2 ice cream scoops. Now I'm going to do a third. And what you want to make sure when you start doing 3 that you don't overlap this 3rd ice cream onto the 1st ice cream. So you only want 2 ice cream scoops to be overlapping each other. So if I put this one here, I have a scoop overlapping 2. So I'm going to put the ice cream scoop here where it's not overlapping the 1st ice cream scoop. So now I have 3 ice cream scoops. Four. 5 and 6. All right. So now you're going to take a Sharpie marker and you're going to go over your pencil lines, tracing over the top of them with a nice juicy black permanent marker. Okay, and to finish off, if you missed any of your pencil lines tracing over, erase those. And then add some crisscross lines across your ice cream cone to make it look more like a waffle cone. And I do slightly curved lines, so I'm going to curve some lines going diagonally from top to bottom like that. And then I'm going to make the lines go the opposite direction so that I create some square shapes or diamond shapes. All right, and now I'm ready to paint with watercolor. So you're going to need a water basin and a set of watercolors, the basic set. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, brown, and black. We're not going to use black. I'm going to start with brown. And the way that you use watercolor paint is you take your paintbrush, get water on it, and pull your paintbrush across the edge of the oval so that that squeezes the water out of the bristles onto the top of your paint. And then it looks, you get this puddle of water sitting on top of your paint. And then you gently wiggle your paintbrush around. You're not jabbing it in there, holding it with your fist. Gently rub and swirl that water around, and it turns into the color that's underneath, which in this case is brown. And now I'm going to paint the water, not the paint itself. So I'm not trying to get that sticky watercolor paint out of the bottom of the oval. I'm just using the water that's sitting on top of the watercolor paint. Now, when watercolors, two colors touch each other, they bleed and run together and mix. So we're going to skip this first ice cream scoop, and we're going to go to the next ice cream scoop. That way, if I paint my first ice cream scoop the color that I want, then it'll bleed with the brown. So actually, I could start up here. So I think I will. I'll start up here. And you can go, I want you to go in the order of the rainbow, and I started with red at the top, but if you wanted to do purple at the top and go backwards on the rainbow, you could. Or essentially start down here, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. I'm gonna go ahead and start with violet at the top, since this example has red at the top. So I'm gonna get a puddle of water on top of the violet color, wiggle the water around, swirl it around a little bit, real gentle. I'm touching the paint that's under the water gently, and you're gonna paint this whole ice cream scoop that color. So I'm not gonna stop when I get to this line. I'm gonna keep going until I get to the bottom of the scoop. And watercolor should be light in color, it shouldn't be very dark. So see how when I set my paintbrush down, that paint is really, really dark. But look what I do. I pull it and push it across, and it lightens that up. Okay, so what's the next color in the rainbow? So purple, then blue. But we're going to skip every other scoop so that the blue doesn't run into the violet tremendously. So we're going to skip. So here's violet. There's blue. I'm going to skip blue, so I'm going to go to green. So now I'm going to get water on top of my green. I'm going to wiggle the water around gently. And then I'm going to skip this ice cream scoop because that's the blue. And I'm going to do this ice cream scoop, which is the green. Now, if you make a mistake, that's okay. Mistakes are how we learn. It's practice. And it's all right if it's not perfect. We are not machines. We can't make these perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. We're all human. All right, so I am finished with my green scoop. So if we look, green, next comes yellow, but we're going to skip yellow and go to the next one, which is orange. So now I'm going to get water on top of my orange. Skipping this scoop right under the green and going to the orange scoop. Okay. I'm rinsing my paintbrush off before I switch to a new color. So now I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to paint the color that goes between violet and green. So the color that goes...
I'm going to put a brown color on him too. Yep.
So the color that goes between violet and green, if we look over here, the color between violet and green is blue. So I'm going to paint blue here.
You can run in the hall, okay?
And see how I'm going to paint the whole scoop. So I'm going to overlap this blue onto the purple. And then I'm going to overlap this blue onto the green. right, and so now we're going to paint the color that goes between green and orange. So the color that goes between green and orange is yellow. So I'm going to get a puddle of water on the yellow. Now you can see the green is starting to run into my yellow.
What are you doing? Come here. Get in here. Sit. Closer. I gotta go away.
Okay, and the final color of the rainbow is red. All right, and that's how we're gonna paint our rainbow ice cream cone. We're gonna take this very carefully and put this on the drying rack, and we'll pour out our bowl of water. And
47 pizzas, and no more than I confirmed, they canceled the event because of the weather. So I called back and I was like, really hope you haven't started those pizzas.
Close. Closer. Closer.
all right, and this is how you paint your rainbow ice cream cone. You're gonna put this on the drying rack. You'll pour this out and put your paintbrush in the pitcher of soapy water. Good job.